Boo! Did I get you? Where was I? Was doing a video. I think I was playing Minecraft or something. I don't remember now. I was complaining about something. What was I complaining about? It got interrupted. All right. This guy thinks that everyone does believe in God, even though we don't, and believes a lot of weird things. I got hair in my mouth. I gotta shave this. I don't want to shave this, but I have to. What are you gonna do? All right, so I was complaining about this guy's video, and then the knock was at my door, and so I had to do that, and I couldn't keep filming with the. And so then now we're back to this. So anyways, this guy, everything closed, huh? This dude is showing Minecraft as he talks because I don't know. People can't focus on just talking, I guess. You have to have some video playing or whatever. I mean, I've had videos where it's just my icon and people watch that, so I don't know. But anyway, okay. So he said, the atheists say there is no God, even though we don't necessarily say that. And that he's talking about gravity. You can't see gravity, but you can observe the effects of gravity, and we observe no effects that we think are God. What is God? We don't even know. He's just using the word God. He hasn't defined what God is. If there are effects that are God, what are those effects? And so that would be testable. Laud has inspired DM to shave previously. That my beard requires it. It's too fuzzy. It's getting in my mouth. No. Laud prefers that I have beard. Actually, it's not even in the lobsters. It's but you have to. Well, it is, but it's like coded in there. You have to know the code. There might be a hidden code in the lobsters, maybe. If not, the fourth book of the lobsters will definitely have some hidden codes. Any rate, so he's saying things that are completely wrong, and I'm complaining about those things. So that's where we were last time, and we had a nice bunch of people here in chat. And now we still have a nice person in chat, but we don't have the same nice people in chat that we did before. Now we might have new people in chat that might be the people from before. So what I'm saying is, if you are in chat, you are a nice person. That's how I am defining you. And I can know you are in chat by not just the effect, but also because I see you in chat. And, being able to observe you in chat is really good. Also, you can interact with me in different ways via text, not just in chat, but also on the video when it's a video. And look, how many times have I told you guys to leave comments and you don't do it? Why don't you do it? It's not that hard. Why? Sometimes you do. Like maybe you think I'm joking. No, I'm not joking. Just do it. Just do the thing. Okay, anyways, hey, I want to show you something. It's Lobster! Yay, isn't he cute? You don't know. Yes, it is. Sorry. Wait. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. Anyways, so it's very cute. I guess I should probably review this video. Yeah. Woo! Okay, so he's been wrong, and if you're wondering why I'm at this time index, well, that's where I left off last time, and I guess I'll just have to watch that video to catch up now. Lols.
But they have to prove this to be the case, which they're not able to do. Now, agnostics
prove there's no God. Well, I would love to, but I need to know what you think God is first. Depending on your definition, I might be able to prove that there isn't a God. But that's not my position. You're assuming that my position is there's no God. I don't even know what God is. That's kind of the atheist position. The word God is so incoherent that it's useless. So there you go. But now he's going to get what agnostic is wrong.
Or people who simply say, we don't know.
Nope. That's not what agnostic means.
We're not really sure. There could be, maybe not, potentially. We just need the evidence. And then, maybe we'll believe. But at this point,
no, an agnostic is the position of agnosticism is defined as not knowing whether there is or isn't a God, and also potentially a separate definition is believing that there is no way to know whether there is or isn't a God, which is a very different position. So you think agnostic means I don't know. It doesn't. Now, some people might use the word agnostic and say, I don't know, but I'm an agnostic atheist and also skeptic. So I'm a lot and atheist, kind of soft atheist. So it depends. Hey, skeptically pissed. Lobster wants beards. Lobster's not perfect. No, the lobster. If the lobster wants beards, then obviously then the beard is perfect. But actually, lobsters don't care what humans do. So, anyways, he's wrong about this word.
We're not sure, and this is the fairest belief to have. At least you're saying we're not sure, we're not aware, potentially not sure. But for somebody to say God doesn't exist as an active claim. This is something you have to prove now. You're saying God doesn't exist. Okay, prove he doesn't exist.
You said he. How do you know God is he rather than she or it? So you have an idea of what God is. Okay, it's on you to prove that is. And unless you do, I don't believe it is. Now, to say it is not, I would need to know more about it, which you haven't told us in this video. Nothing in the description. Let's see. I'll look at the channel. I talk about religion product. No. With a block game background. That's called Minecraft. My word. These more videos that just are probably wrong. Yeah, so at any rate, so it seems like he might be Judeo-Christian looking at his other videos. No surprise there.
Proof with facts and reason.
Sure. As soon as you tell me which version of which God you believe in. If you believe in the Judeo-Christian version of God, that's easy. Well, not really. It depends on which version of that God you believe in. So if I don't know how to say his name, I'm going to call him Adarmi, I guess. I don't know. If AI Darmy dude says that there's a hell, or, well, I don't need the hell part, but the heaven part's definitely, that's like always Christian stuff. Like, I don't know. All right. So if God is proposed to be a logically perfect being, that means it cannot make logical fallacies, period. Okay? Can't do it because only an illogical being could do logical fallacies. Humans can do them because we're not perfect beings. We're not perfectly logical. So if we can identify something that God says that is illogical, then it is not the actual God. It must be a false God, a fake God, whatever. So in the Judeo-Christian Bible, Christ, who is many Christians would say is God or an avatar of God or something, says that if you follow him, that you get to God. And if you don't follow him, you don't get to God. So this is an appeal to a bribe, which is a logical fallacy. If you do what I want you to do, you get $10. Okay. that is an appeal to a bribe. It is not a valid argument because it's not sound. It's a motivation, but it's an emotional motivation, not a logical one. So Christ saying, if you do X, Y, and Z, you get to paradise is an appeal to a bribe. Now, if you also believe in hell, then we also have the ad ballum, which is an appeal to a threat. So since Jesus is purported to be God and has made at least one, if not two, logical fallacies, then it can't actually be God, rendering you no longer Christian. Now, maybe you can go back to Judaism, but and then Yahweh. Well, Yahweh doesn't say anything about the afterlife or whatever, but it does say that if you don't do it, it will be very mad. If you don't do things that it wants you to do, there might be consequences for it. So Yahweh seems to commit ad ballum as well, meaning that God is not the perfect, logically coherent being that was proposed, so it's not really God anymore. There you go. I've proven that version of God doesn't exist. You're welcome.
You can't prove something to not exist. You can simply say, well, I don't believe in it. I don't have proof for this.
Well, it depends what it is, but yes, you can prove things don't exist. There is not a dragon inside of my hand right now. Oh, look, see how there is no dragon in my hand? Well, in my hand, I guess would be inside of my hand. That might be a little bit harder. I meant like I'm holding it in my fist, you know. So that was pretty easy to demonstrate. But if you can't falsify something, that's actually a bad thing.
Say God doesn't exist simply because you have no proof. And after all, what proof do you expect? What do you want? Now, after all, you believe in gravity and emotions and, you know, thoughts and morality when it doesn't exist. You can't.
Those things do exist.
Hold morality. You can't show somebody, you know, their emotions.
Actually, we can show emotions. Hey, check it out, CNN. Where are we? Come on, CNN, get up here. This is what emotions look like. Yeah, there you go. So apparently we can show emotions. So I guess you were wrong. Now, I'm not the only one to point this out of note. They're at my door again? Or is it just tap, tap, tapping? No, they're not at my door again. Let's see. So in his comment section, somebody said gravity can be measured, emotions can be detected. He says, you can't see gravity like I said before. It can be measured, though. And then emotions can't be shown under a test tube. Seeing chemicals, a park up isn't seeing emotion or thought. A park up. I think he meant spark up. But yeah, yes, seeing those things spark up is the emotion. But he doesn't want to believe that chemicals are emotion, I guess. So I don't know what you're supposed to do with somebody when they just say, "Oh no, that thing that you showed me isn't emotion." Like, what do you do then? It's like, no, we just showed you what emotions look like with brain scans. Oh, that's not emotion. That's just, well, what is it then? What are we looking at then? If it's not emotion, people are having emotion. They take the brain scan when they're having emotion, and not just one person, but lots of people. And they go, hey, look, these centers of the brain light up when they're having these emotion. So therefore, these centers of the brain light up when people have that emotion. That's where this emotion is occurring. What else would it be? I mean, it's like, well, it's the emotion is not that, it's something else. So what's lighting up? That's just part of the brain is lighting up coincidentally when they're feeling that. I guess. What nonsense, But hey, when you deny science and reality, it makes it much easier to believe in things like God, I guess.
You can't put gravity under a microscope.
That is correct. But also that's like one of the dumbest things ever. You can't put pink under a microscope either. Like you can put something that is colored pink under a microscope, but you can't put pink. It's just dumb.
And unfortunately, these people just don't put the same level of skepticism that they put into God into other areas in their life.
Yes. The you haven't applied your skepticism across the board claim. Actually, I have. You don't know me, apparently. But yeah, when people make claims, I will question those claims. And I've gotten myself into trouble by steering away from atheism from time to time into political or social commentary because, well, people get upset when you start to question those claims. And I'm just like, prove it, and they think I'm on the other side, even though I'm not. They don't mind it when I question religion, per se, but they do mind it when I question politics. Somebody made a claim, about Trump, he's going to take over the government. And I'm like, prove it. Like, well, do you believe that he's not going to take over the government? And I said, I didn't say that. I just asked you to prove your claim that he is going to do it. And, it went on like that. Oh, you're saying this, you're saying that. No, I'm just asking you to prove your claim. Well, he said this, he said that. Okay. Does that prove that he's going to actually do it? I mean, he says a lot of stuff. I'll grant that. But just because I say something, that doesn't mean that I'll do it. And does he even have the ability to do it? That's and so they never actually proved that Trump's actually going to do it. At best, they could show that there was a couple of things he said that suggested that that maybe under certain ways of looking at it that he kind of wants to. Maybe, I don't know. It's not clear. And only if you look at it in the way that they were looking at it, rather than just whatever he said. And it's like, the guy's hyperbolic. He says all sorts of stuff that he doesn't mean, and he says it in emotional ways. So why would I believe that he's legitimately doing that? And if you really think our system's so weak that he can take it over, maybe the system deserves to be taken over. If the system can't uphold or prevent a tyrant, then maybe it's due for a takeover and a new system then, because you would rebel against the tyrant, you would kill off the tyrant, and then you'd have to restart the system anyways. So I don't know. But at any rate, when anyone makes any claim, I will question it. So that is applying the same system that I use for God to everything else. I do it all the time. So you're wrong. But even if he was right, and I only used this sort of skepticism on God and didn't use it for anything else, that doesn't make this sort of skepticism incorrect. At best, it shows that I'm a hypocrite, but being a hypocrite isn't a logical fallacy. And it doesn't negate that there isn't a God. It doesn't negate that you have the burden of proof to demonstrate God. It doesn't negate that you haven't proven that God exists. All you're saying is, well, you haven't proven your point. You don't even know what my point is. You told me my point is that I say there's no God, even though I don't necessarily. Again, it depends what God is. And then you say, well, then you're saying a bunch of other stuff that just, so anyways, all right. Where were we? Okay, so yeah, even if what you were saying is true, which it isn't true, even if it was true, that doesn't negate skepticism. So what's your point?
when they walk outside, they don't expect fire to rain from the sky.
Fire raining from the sky would not be a skeptical position. In fact, if there's a God, then there's every reason to believe that fire could rain from the sky, because that's described in many different holy texts. So why wouldn't God have it rain fire from the sky, as far as I know? If there's a God, all bets are off, because God could do anything it wanted at any moment. There's no assuredness of normality with God in charge. Oh, well.
They don't expect, their car to, turn into a butterfly and invite them to work.
That would not be skepticism. That would be a belief in something ludicrous. You're making no sense.
This level of, random skepticism is only seen with God.
Random skepticism. What the hell is random skepticism?
And for some reason, and I think this is because they don't want somebody to have authority over their lives.
Ah, yes. We've heard this before, haven't we? You don't believe in God because you don't want someone in charge of your life. How do I know that God would be in charge of my life? That's a belief about God that you apparently have. How do you know that God wants to be in charge of my life or is in charge of my life? These are beliefs you hold about God that you have yet to demonstrate. You also additionally believe, I don't want someone over my life or in charge of my life. Maybe I do, maybe I don't. But Fitness Frank, haven't seen in a while there. How's you doing? Haven't seen your name in a while. I'll get to that question there. I know they exist, right? Because they're actually there. I can actually see them, and interact with them and test them and so on. What was the point I was making? Oh, right, authority. He might be. If he had a workplace, he could be my boss, right? Or I could say, "Hey, Fitness Frank, tell me what to do today." And, he could tell me what to do. I could pay him to tell me what to do, and he could be in charge of my life, I guess, if I wanted to. But let's just say I didn't want that to be true. Well, I could quit the job, right? Or I could not pay him to tell me what to do, or I could just not listen to him, whatever. But do I suddenly stop believing in Fitness Frank? No. Let's say that he was able to make laws that I have to obey. Right? So he's basically in charge of my life in that way, and in charge of lots of people's lives. Well, we could fire them, but would we stop believing in Fitness Frank because they were able to control our lives? No. So this idea that I don't want someone to be in charge of my life, therefore I'm going to stop believing in them, is nonsense. Because if that thing still exists, like your belief in something isn't dependent on what you want to be true about that thing. If you have evidence that that thing is a thing, you can't just say, well, I don't want it to be in charge of my life, so I'm going to pretend it's not there. It's nonsense. It's just absolute, utter nonsense. But I see no reason to think that it is in charge of my life or that it wants to be in charge of my life. Why would it care? I thought, don't Christians believe in free will? If there's free will, then how can it be in charge of my life? Am I a robot or not? I don't know. Does God want me to only do good because I want to make God happy? Burp, 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 burp. Sounds like a robot. So, yeah. Robin, also good to see you. Good to see all you. Fantastic. Oh man, why is your name like this? Fantomex 11. There we go. Skeptically Pissed. Thomas Rutledge. Let's see. Who did I? Fitness Frank and Robin. There. I've said hi to everybody in chat. There. Okay. And I had your name briefly on the screen. Okay. What are my thoughts on intelligent design? intelligent design is relabeled creationism. It's just another way for them to try to get creationism into schools. And so it's completely pseudoscience and junk. And Fibonacci sequence occurring in nature, yeah, sure, patterns occur in nature all the time. Doesn't mean anything. It's just that's how things are. A Fibonacci sequence, it's like, like things are like little spirals and stuff. Pretty cool, but it doesn't mean anything. It's just that's how things work. People like patterns, and so people will, oh, the pattern means something. No, it doesn't. It just occurs. It doesn't mean anything more than it is. All right. So, anyways, so no, I don't believe in God, not because I think it's in charge of my life. In fact, there's no reason to think that there's a God that I don't want to be in charge of my life in the first place. And if I did believe in God, I might not believe that it's in charge of my life. So there's that position too. So do you think that people that believe in a God that where that God isn't in charge of their life want to believe in a God that isn't in charge of their life? I mean, this is not, of course it's just silly.
I don't think it's a lack of evidence.
Well, you don't think it's a lack of evidence? Well, that's funny. If there was evidence, you would think that you would have presented it by now, but you haven't. So where's your evidence for God? Evidence, not an argument, evidence. Here's the difference, okay? I make a claim. I've got a blue smiley face made out of plastic. There it is. Now it's on my head. Now, I made a claim and I demonstrated that claim was true. Okay, an argument is premise 1, there's a smiley face thing on my head. Premise 2, if there isn't a smiley face thing on my head, then I must have $1 million in the bank. Conclusion, I must have $1 million in the bank. Now, if I go to the bank and I make that argument, first of all, it's going to be kind of hard because I got to keep this thing on my head while I'm in there. But I go up to the teller. I'm like, hey, I've got some evidence for you that I have $1 million in the bank. And she'll be like, or he'll be like, can we see your card? No. Listen, either I have a smiley face thing on my head or I have $1 million. If I don't have that on my head, then I do have $1 million in my bank, or I don't. So therefore I do. See? And they'll be like, what? I'm like, sorry, I screwed that argument up. What I meant to say is if I have this on my head, then I have $1 million in the bank. I have it on my head, therefore I have $1 million in the bank. Give me my money. And she'll be like, we need your card, sir. And I'm like, why do you need my card? I made an argument. That's not evidence, sir. We need evidence. Yeah. So here's God on my head. Oh, right. We can't see God. Okay. We can see the effects of God. What do you mean by that? What effects can we see that are God? How do you know that those effects are God? How do you know what God is? What was your method to discover that's what God was in the first place? And the answer to those questions is, well, we don't know.
But yet, the fear of accountability. Because after all, if God...
No, not afraid of accountability. Don't have any reason to believe that there's a God that's going to hold me accountable. Accountable to what? See, you believe in a particular version of God that holds people accountable, but also doesn't. Because the Judeo-Christian God doesn't really hold you accountable for what you did in life if you believe in it. And if you believe in Christ, you're forgiven. All your sins are forgiven. Now, there's an interesting thing here because we get into different branches of Christianity. Do you have to say sorry every single moment that you commit a sin? Or are you once forgiven, always forgiven? Is there grace, or is it faith? Is it works? Is it, and so if you're driving along, and all of a sudden you hit a ramp and you're flying through the air and you're like, oh, God damn it. And then you're like, wait a minute, I'm going to die, because you notice there's a bunch of water ahead of you because the ramp led to a giant jump into water. For some reason, I don't know. They were doing a movie set thing and, you went the wrong way. I don't know, And now before you die, you have to say, I'm sorry, Jesus, I didn't mean to blaspheme, or Or is it that you're fine because you already are a Christian? And so, is it when you die because you said, God damn it, and you blaspheme, now you don't get to go to heaven? Or is it that if you say you're sorry, then you're fine? Or is it, so different Christians have different answers to this question. How does it work? You don't know. You have a belief, but you don't know that that's how it works. So that's a problem, isn't it? That's a you problem. But you're not held accountable for what you did. You're held accountable for whether or not you believed in Jesus in the right way. If you didn't believe in Jesus, you're screwed for sure. You're going to hell. That's it. You didn't believe the right thing in the right way. You didn't say, Jesus, I love you in the right way. You didn't show God that you loved it enough, so you're not getting in. You didn't give enough money to church, so you're not getting in. You didn't do this right, so you're not getting in. And no matter how unfair that seems, doesn't matter. That's what God decided. But what those things are that you need to do or not do to please God are all beliefs that you have based upon your interpretation of the Bible and or your pastor's interpretation of the Bible and or other people around you's interpretation of the Bible, which you filter through your own brain to make your own interpretation of the Bible. So are you going to get that wrong? Probably. Will God forgive you? Maybe. I hope so, but it's not based on what you've done. It's based on what you believe about Jesus. I believe he's gone, died for me. That will get me to heaven. So it doesn't matter if you do something bad. As long as you believe that, you're fine. But you wouldn't kill somebody if you believed in Jesus, even though plenty of people that believe in Jesus do kill people. Right. And then they repent. They say, I'm really sorry. I won't do it again. And they're in jail. So I guess technically speaking, they won't do it again. I guess they could kill somebody in jail. And then they die. So they're fine because they repented. You have to, but you have to repent for real. And that has to really be true to get in. And but how do you know that that's true? See, this is the problem with thinking that there's an authority that you can't test, measure, see, demonstrate at all, is you don't know what God wants or doesn't want you to do. You have beliefs about what God wants you to do or not. You have a belief that this thing is in charge and will punish you if you believe the wrong things. Definitely will punish you if you don't believe in it in the right way, because that makes sense. Not. Okay.
It does exist, and they'll be accountable for what they do.
That's not necessarily true. There might be a God who doesn't care what we do. But this is Zoroastrianism. It's so interesting that Christians and other theists resort to Zoroastrianism. Now, in Zoroastrianism, it's absolutely true that what you do matters. In Zoroastrianism, there's basically a scale, and everybody's on this scale. And the more good you do, the more you tilt up, and the more bad you do, the more you tilt down. And I suppose, you're on this side of the scale. I guess, okay, so this is you for now. Okay. So, if you do good, you tilt up, and up is good. And if you tilt down, oh, shit, that's bad. You don't want that to happen. Although I guess if you tilted too much up in my demonstration, you'd also roll off. But we're going to ignore that. Okay, we'll have it be that the scale goes up or down. There we go. Up is good, down bad. Good, bad. Good, bad. So if you do more good, then and it doesn't matter if you believe in Zoroastrianism or not. It's just how the universe works. So that system, it's absolutely critical that you do good so that you get the good reward, which is still an appeal to bribery, making God illogical. But at least you don't have to believe that that system is true for it to still work in the way that you're describing.
They will no longer be the center of the universe,
The center of the universe? Well, technically, you are the center of the universe, in a way. I mean, yeah, I know that's not what he meant, but I'm going to do it anyways because it's fun. No, you are indeed the center of the universe, technically speaking. Now I'll wait for you to try to process that. Okay, is your brain loading? Okay, so where are you? You're on Earth, right? Well, okay. I'm in my room right now in a Pacific point on Earth, but from my perspective, everything is around me. So, including the Earth is under me, and the entire solar system is around me. So, in that sense, I am indeed in the center of the universe. But of course, you didn't mean it that way. You meant to say that I like think big of myself. Um, I don't know. I like that I exist, but I don't think I'm all that in a bag of chips. You know, some people like me, some people don't. Some people find what I say interesting, some people don't. Whatever. I have some effect on society to some extent. I don't know. I'm trying to make my small impact upon humans as we try to do on YouTube, I suppose. And I don't think of myself as being that important. I think that I'm important to those who care about me, perhaps, uh, but that doesn't mean I think that I'm the center of the universe. And I don't really know any atheist that really thinks that way either. So this is a belief that you hold about atheists, not a truth. We're finding that he has a lot of beliefs and little truth as he plays Minecraft clips in the background.
They would have to answer to somebody at the end of the day. Now, let's talk about this idea of inherent truths. Some things you just know. Not
Inherent truth. Oh, you mean the thing that doesn't exist that you're going to pretend that exists? Okay.
not because you were taught them, because your mind can't function otherwise.
Uh-huh.
For example, the law of non-contradiction.
Oh, hey, he actually does know about logic.
Nobody taught us the law of non-contradiction.
That's not true. I actually did study about the law of non-contradiction, so I taught myself using the words on a page. So somebody did teach me that because the concept wouldn't exist if somebody didn't tell you about it.
But yet it's instinctively known that something can't be true and false at the exact same time.
No, it's not instinctively known. That's again something that you have to learn. It's not instinctual. Where are you getting this idea that it's instinctual? I wish that the laws of logic were instinctual. But no, that's not true. You don't necessarily know that. And some people actually don't even understand it no matter what they're taught. Some people don't understand the law of non-contradiction at all because their brains can't process that type of information due to physical abnormalities in their brain, chemical imbalances, mental retardation, maybe they got hit in the head, whatever, and they just can't process that sort of information. Just like you can't believe that we can see emotions in MRI, there are people that are just incapable of understanding complex ideas. You're a good example of that. But you don't understand that you are an example of that because that's a complex idea. See how that works? Great, isn't it?
Now, if you're still here, I want you to think of a squared circle.
Can't be done. That is impossible.
Can you think of that?
Nope.
A square that is also a circle, 4 sides yet no sides at all, 4 corners but completely round.
Right.
You can't.
No.
Now try to imagine a purple elephant.
Okay.
Now,
easy.
But you can imagine a purple elephant because you have experienced the color purple before and you've experienced an elephant.
Cool. Now picture God. Go on. Picture God, Arodim, however you say your name. Go on. I'll wait. Picture God. Can you draw God for me? Oh, you can't draw God? Interesting. So is God like the square circle or the pink elephant? Purple elephant, whatever. I would prefer it to be pink, but Ah. So either God is a square circle or you can draw God in your comparison, right? You can't draw a square circle. You can't draw God. You can draw a purple elephant, but you can't draw God. So I guess God is a square circle. Good job.
So you're able to put these two together. Something like a squared circle, their definitions do not match.
Hey, I'm sorry. That room should be on fire. I'm sorry. Hold on. I'm sorry. Listen.
Two together.
Okay.
Something like a squared circle.
Okay. All right. That room right there, that should be on fire because lava next to wood sets the wood on fire. So that room should be on fire. Why is room not on fire? I know that's not the point of the video, but I'm just saying that should be on fire.
Their definitions do not match. One is instinctively one thing, and one is the complete opposite. No one had to teach you this. This is not something you have to go to school for.
Yes, you do have to go to school to understand these concepts. I mean, you have to learn them at some point, so you're just wrong.
It's literally hard-coded into your brain.
No, it's not. And if there was evidence that it was hard-coded in our brain, you'd be able to demonstrate that. Do you have a scientific paper that demonstrates that? No, you don't.
The same thing goes for morality. Maybe not all morality, but for example, you don't need to be taught that stabbing a child is wrong.
Yes, you do, actually. You do need to be taught that. You're just saying things that you think are true without any citation to support them at this point. Morality is very much taught to us by our parents or those taking care of us and our observation of how things work around us. So if you have a child that has abusive parents, they will turn out very different than a child that doesn't have abusive parents. You have the same house, same income, same everything. You have a parents that smack each other around versus parents that don't smack each other around. The child is going to think that smacking each other around is normal. Whereas the other child will not think that smacking each other around is normal. So you base your idea of reality on what you observe around you. And there have been studies of children in different scenarios of various degrees of abusive parents or children that were essentially raised by wild creatures or whatever, feral children that take years, if ever, to be incorporated into society because they did not have exposure to the correct sort of humans. So you're absolutely positively wrong in every way that you could be wrong about morality being built in to some degree. If there was any evidence of that, you could demonstrate it, but there isn't. That's why you just make the claim and hope that we believe you. I don't believe you. In fact, I know better. And I could show you study after study that shows contrary information if you want. Not that you're listening, Adrian, or whatever the hell your name is. How do you say his name? Arodim. Arodim. Yeah, Dim. I'm just going to call him Dim. That seems about right. Oh, we're almost done with this video. No, we're not. It's another 4 minutes. God damn it.
Hopefully, it's instinctively known inside of you.
No, it's
not. Now
not.
The question is God instinctive belief?
No, it isn't. You have to be taught about God.
And the evidence points to yes.
No, actually, the evidence doesn't point to yes. However, the notion of a controlling thing or whatever being in charge is something that young kids do respond to. And there's been tests on that. Princess Alice. ALLIS. Man, And where is it? I think it's Princess Alice. Let's see. Or princess, some sort of princess. But God, I can't find it right now. I'll find it later. Whatever. In this test, the kids are told that an invisible princess is watching them and not to take a cookie. And there's they do control where they have the kids. They're told not to take the cookie. They leave the room. They take the cookie. Then then they have the group of kids, and they're told that Princess Alice is in this chair. She's invisible. She doesn't want them to take the cookie. And then they leave, and the kids don't take the cookie. So there you go. There's God, right? That is God. But there's no Princess Alice in that chair because she's not real. So there is something that humans have that make them prone to the idea that if an authority figure is watching them, to behave differently than if not. So why? Well, God built that into us, or is that something that evolved into us? But regardless, we do see that there is no Princess Alice. So maybe there's no God. Cookie test control. Oh, there we go. Thank you, Brian. That might be it. I have to go to YouTube proper to click on it. I don't know why you can't click on things in Studio. There we go. Wait, is that? Yeah, that's it. Okay. Let's see. There we go. There we go. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, basically. There's a video with Morgan Freeman on it, but that I usually pull up. But yeah. So yeah, there you go. Yeah, so yeah. MASH. What are they talking about? Talking about MASH now. Oh, Hot Lips perished. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, mortality, man. I don't know. I mean, I like the show. I watched the show, but I don't know that I know enough about the show to do any trivia on it. Yeah, that is sad. Age, man. Anyways, so this guy goes on and on saying more stuff that isn't true, and I'm tired. So I think I'm more irritated because the first stream I had to close it and I wasn't done, and so I don't know. I mean, what's he gonna say? Is he gonna ever say anything that proves God? No. We know that. He's got no proof. He's got all these assumptions about atheists. He's got all these beliefs that he doesn't want to challenge. If you look at his comment section, you'll see what I'm talking about. He doesn't even believe that we can show emotions on MRI scans. So, yeah. Is this low-hanging fruit? Probably, I guess. I don't know. But I'll respond to anything. Okay, so logical fallacies. Oh my God, how many logical fallacies did he have? Straw man all the time, consistently. Just non sequitur because he doesn't prove anything at any point. And a lot of formal fallacies of just failure to give an argument or cite sources. So, due to all those reasons, we should be skeptical of his conclusion. And if you're going to show Minecraft in the background, at least have it be footage of you playing. That would be interesting. But why not just show your avatar, just show your face, you know? I don't need to watch Minecraft while you're talking. If you tell me what God is and tell me how you know that that is God, maybe we can have a discussion of that, Dim, and you can email me and set that up. But I don't think that you're paying attention to anything I said, because why would you? All right, guys, girls, and everything else in between, robots and all those things that you may or may not be in chat, please leave a comment on this once it's a video. And until next time, be skeptical. And after next time, put a lobster on your head and stay skeptical. And if you don't have a lobster on your head, get a lobster, put it on your head, and be skeptical. It's not that hard. I demand that next time I see any of you on the stream, that you have a lobster on your head. Let's see how many people I can get to do that. Yeah. Oh yeah. Woo!